Coach, it's been a long homestand. It'll be your longest one of the season. What significance do you see in taking care of home court before a long road trip?
That would be nice. Anytime you have a little momentum and you can continue it, especially before you go on a long road trip, it'd be great to hold home court. And we're playing a good team, and so to have a good performance would be great, but to get the win also would be nice. And then to set off on this trip, which may be the longest of the year, with a win would be good.
I know everything's a work in progress, but what strides do you see being made on the defensive side?
Yeah, I think we've, defended pretty well. We'd be defending, especially, with our makeup, we'd be exceptional defensively if we rebounded better. And that's something we've talked about now for many, many months. And we'll continue to talk about it the rest of the year. And it's just something that we have to form habits to gang rebound. We're asking a lot of guys who have never had to pay this much attention to the glass, in their lives to always gravitate back to the rim. So it takes time building those habits and changing kind of, these players whose histories haven't aligned with having a ton of responsibility on the glass.
Steve, this is probably premature, and I don't know if you can shed any light on it or not, but there was a mayoral election yesterday. New mayor is going to be coming in who might lift the local vaccine mandate. If that were to happen, would Kyrie be permitted to come back, or does the organization want him to get vaccinated regardless? Can you shed any light on that?
I might be speaking out of turn, but I think if the mandate changes, he'd be welcome back for sure.
Coach, last night Chris Paul passed you on the all-time leading.
Damn it!
Just wanted to know what you thought about that, and just what it took for you to tally that many assists over the course of your career.
Well, I played a long time, so that's the first ingredient. And Chris is just one of the best point guards we've ever had. So well deserved, and I'm sure he's going to get many, many more. And it's been incredible to watch his career.
I'm curious. Obviously, we're a couple weeks in now to these rule changes, and Monty McCutcheon said he felt they were working. Obviously, James and Trae are kind of the poster children for these rule changes. But I'm curious, do you see both the referees and the players kind of getting accustomed to how things are being called? And secondly, do you note the game being much more physical now than, say, it was last year and the year before? Players playing that way.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just an opinion, but my opinion is it is more physical than the regular season, which is fine. I have no problem with that. I don't know I don't know where we net and end up in this. So it's hard to say the players are figuring it out, because I don't know if it's a continual figuring out as we kind of come back to some middle ground. So it's really hard to say, but I think that's the nature of it. We all have to adapt and adjust and figure it out as we go. And that's just a new element or part of change, is trying to come to grips with it. So I keep saying, I'm sure it's difficult for the referees as well. They're trying to referee the game differently than in the past, and that probably takes them time. And in some ways, it's probably a lot on their plate. So, I think everyone's got to just continue to work together to try to find an understanding, and in time we'll get there. I play so many games in this league. Whenever that kind of the dust settles and we do find that middle ground, we'll probably forget about this stretch, and it'll just be back to normal, whatever that normal is.
Steve, at the beginning of last season, you had said you were hesitant to ask too much of Kevin defensively as he was kind of first coming back. Are you asking a little bit more of him now, and how impactful has he been on the way you guys are playing defensively so far?
Yeah, I haven't had to ask. He's been great defensively. He's been locked in. He's taken a lot of pride in it and led us, by example with his willingness. So, we know with his length, athleticism, what a factor he can be down there. And this year he's been really good defensively.
Steve, some teams around the league have talked about adjusting to the new game ball. Has that been a thing with you guys, or not really?
I haven't heard anything about it since, a few weeks before the season when they weren't worn in. When they weren't worn in, you could tell it was different. But now that they're worn in, they seem pretty similar. So, but I'm not out there. So, and I almost never shoot a basketball anymore. So, I'm not the one you should be asking. But they seem to to me, very similar now that they're worn in, but that's, someone else's department.
Hey, Steve, since Trae's been in the league, he said that he's modeled his game after yours. In the past year or so, how have you seen his game evolve?
Well, I thought in the playoffs, he clearly, took a step, and last season in general in the playoffs took a step as far as running his team, managing the game, making others better. We know he has great vision, but I think he took a step with his maturity and understanding still such a young player. So that takes time, and he's already, I think, proven that he can do that as well as facilitate and score. So pretty impressive at his age to be able to do all those things at once and to be able to do it, in the playoffs when it counts the most.
Hey, Steve in the back. With the way the game's being called now, has that changed the way you approach anything strategically? Like, have you guys gone into meetings and said we should adjust the way we're attacking, the way we're guarding, or anything along those lines?
A little bit, not a major mandate. I think we still aren't like certain that's the way the game's going to be refereed. We guess that it's going to be this way tonight and Friday, but who knows going forward. So in some ways, maybe we lean into that or we're cautious of that, but it's not a huge topic of discussion as far as strategy and schemes and stuff.
How many games do you think constitutes the start of a season? Like, how many games do you use to measure that?
Meaning like when we've passed the start of the season?
Yeah, like when we say, well, the Nets got off to X start, how many games do you take for that?
I have no idea. You need to ask a stats professor or somebody. That's not really something I have an opinion on.
How do you think it's going?
Our start? Yeah, it's good. It's a new challenge this year. So I'm enjoying, trying to put this puzzle together with our staff and players, and the guys have had a great attitude and are working and, learning to defend together and, trying to figure out how to play offensively together. And the engagement's been great and we're really enjoying it.
I'm just curious, when you look at Blake's shot chart, I mean, it appears off the cuff that he's getting kind of similar looks to what he'd gotten last season. So do you just look and say, well, he's getting the appropriate looks and he'll regress to the mean and those numbers will end up being what they should be? Or do you look and say, okay, well, if he's getting the same shots and missing them now, we're having an issue?
No, I have a lot of confidence in Blake. He's very professional, experienced, intelligent. He understands and sees. And I think, he's just a veteran player that's finding his rhythm. And that's not uncommon. And I think he'll be fine. I think he's going to make shots. And I think he knows and believes he'll make shots. And us as a staff, we definitely believe he'll make shots and be a part of our offense as he was last year. It's not a huge concern for us.
Coach, aside from rest, what are you guys able to do with 2 off days as opposed to having 1 off day in between games?
Yeah, I mean, it gives us more time to work as a staff to prepare, not so much for other teams, but prepare ourselves. Where are we at to take stock, to start to look forward to the next kind of weeks and just slow down a second and look where we started, where we're at, where we're going, and make sure that we kind of remain in touch with our North Star, so to speak.
Okay, guys, thank you.
All right, thanks.